Hello everybody and welcome to DRL TV. I'm your host James Pandolf. Joining me in the booth is Rod Fosna, and we are here for the first ever Indy road course race for the Dynasty Racing League Grand National Series. 39 laps around the 2.605 mile road course. That'll be a total of 100 miles. A lot to look forward to, the unexpected for sure. As we're underway with qualifying, you see David right on track. Going to the practice boards, no surprise, Eric Wolf was the fastest during practice, followed by Kevin Dick in second, and Zach Westine rounded out the top three. As we look at qualifying, let's see what lap time David Wright puts down. 135, good enough for third at the moment. And Rod, as we went through practice, what have you noticed? What corners do you think will give the most trouble to these drivers tonight?
Well, I don't know what corner number it is, but after the long back straight in the middle of the infield, there's a quick, I believe it's a quick left-right, and that seems to be, handy handcuffing a couple of the drivers tonight.
And we're going to see David Wright approach that, so let's go onto a cockpit view with the 42 truck, and we'll see exactly the corners that you mentioned as he's going down the long straightaway now. Shifting into third.
And it's right after this left. This left's a tricky one because you have to back off it a little bit. But right here is a right followed by a hard left.
Yeah, that's a very hard left indeed. It's going to definitely have a lot of trouble for these drivers, and then they head back onto what would be the turn one of the oval side of Indianapolis. As you see him get very loose, almost losing it. These guys are going to be very relying on the throttle control, especially going through turn number one here at Indy. These guys get very loose if they try to go full throttle. Only 6 drivers have recorded a lap time at the moment. Let's see who else is on the track. A few drivers sitting in the pit lane. We have the 67 of Matt Burgers. He's on track. Setting a lap time of 1:36.393, good enough for 6th. Looks like his qualifying effort is over. Let's see who else is on track. Dustin Musil heading down into turn number 1. Looks like he has some damage on his nose already. Must have made contact with the wall at some point. Tonight's definitely going to be a battle of who can stay on the track, the racing surface, the longest and the best. These guys are going to be locking up their brakes heading into these heavy braking zones. There's going to be a lot of two-wide racing, going to be a lot of fun to watch these guys compete here on the Indy road course for the first time.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we do not have any full course cautions in effect for this evening.
That is correct. For the most part, there will be no full course cautions. The only time a full course caution could come out is if there was a multiple car rack of like 3 or more. That would be up to race control discretion, but it will be local area cautions only. As Musil head is down into turn number 1 across the start finish line. 2.5 minutes remain in qualifying. They had a full 10 minutes to set 2 laps worth of qualifying. Dustin Musil sets a 1:37.770, good enough for 9th. Only about half the field have set a lap time. I'm not sure if everyone's going to be able to, or those that did try might have got incident points going off track or hitting the wall, whatever. Might have got an incident point that will just allow their qualifying time. You see Kevin Dick, last week's winner, he's going to be starting in the back of this one, waiting it out till the very end of qualifying to cross the line.
I show Mike Lemon on the track right now.
Mike Lemon, he's very good at road course racing. Going to keep an eye on him tonight in that 38. While we have a minute, let's take a look at the point standings going into tonight's event. All the names you see in yellow have a win on the season, and they would be locked into the playoffs as long as they meet all the other requirements to make the playoffs, such as the 80% participation. Some of these drivers are on the edge of not meeting that requirement, and thus they would forfeit their winning in policy, and they would have to make it in on the points. Take a look at the standings. You see Thomas Harmon, Taylor Butcher, Benjamin, Eric Wolf, J.W. Miller, Kevin Dick, Ben Izenga, and Richard Lucky are the current drivers with the win on the season. Mike Lemon, Matt Burgess, Jordan Berry, James Fandoff, and Dustin Musial round out the top 10 in the points of drivers who do not yet have a win this season. As you see Mike Lemon return to the pits, 20 seconds to go in qualifying. Looks like J.W. Miller will be the pole sitter. He ran a 1:33.414 lap time. So we'll see if we'll be able to pull him in for an interview in a moment or two as the field will begin to grid up, and we'll go racing shortly here at Indianapolis. Hey, J.W. Miller, this is the broadcast booth. You have a copy?
I do.
Well, first time ever on this Indianapolis road course for you guys in the Grand National Series, and you're starting it off on the pole. How do you feel about tonight? How much practice did you get in? And glad to have you back.
I got about an hour's worth of practice in before this practice session started, so about 2.5, 3 hours total for me. Overall, with the race, I'm feeling pretty good as long as we make it through turn 1. I think we'll have a good shot at least a good finish here. We'll have to see how the tires manage because I did a long run and they were pretty smoked, so.
Yeah, you guys will have 2 additional sets of tires, not including the ones that you're starting on right now. Going through the road course, there's a lot of left and right hand turns. What part of the track do you think will be the most difficult for not only you but everyone else in the field?
I think definitely the penultimate and final corner are going to be really difficult here, especially on cold tires. I mean, that's about 155 that we're going around that final corner, turn 1 on the oval, so it's going to be real interesting to see. Hopefully we get nice and spread out by that, but I have a feeling that's going to catch a lot of guys out. There's a lot of really tight turns here.
Absolutely. And before we let you go, Rod, do you have anything for J.W. Miller?
No questions at all, JW. Excuse me, JW. Just good luck out there, man.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty, good luck, JW. Hopefully we talk to you at the end of this one.
Yeah, enjoy the show.
That was your pole sitter, J.W. Miller. Let's see if we can go through the starting grid as these guys finish up the pace lap. Eric Wolf starting alongside him in second. Third, we have Zach Weston in 25. Patrick Calgill starting alongside him in fourth. Mike Lemon rounds out the top 5, David Wright starting alongside him. Michael Skinner and Matt Burgess make up row number 4. Row 5, Jordan Berry and Dustin Musil rounding out the top 10. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Kevin Dick starting 11th and 12th. 13th goes to Thomas Harmon in the 68, Jeremy Hebel starting in 14th. Gary Cronenwine in the 01 beginning in 15th, Raymond Root alongside him in 16th, and Steven Sims rounds out the field in 17th. As the pace car ducks off, J.W. Miller going to bring him to the green. And we are green for the first time in the Indianapolis Road Course and Dynasty Racing League. J.W. Miller, Eric Wolf leading them down into turn number 1 they go. Have to watch out for the brakes locking up, see if everyone's able to make it through okay. You see a little smoke there from the 42 of David Wright. But it looks like everybody's able to make it through turn number 1. Oh, the 25. That's Zach Westing, but he's able to get around and get it going. He's going to lose a few seconds, but not too terrible. Long race ahead of him. As we go
he's
back,
probably a victim of the cold tires there.
As we go back up, looks like everyone's really single filing it out now. You have a battle between David Wright and Michael Skinner of the 23. That's for the 5th position. As Michael Skinner goes a bit wide, but able to stay on the track. Guys make it through the technical part of the track onto the flat banking of the oval. J.W. Miller is going to lead them down, and he will lead the first lap here at Indianapolis. Just behind them, it's a drag race between Mike Lemon and Patrick Calgo as they head down into turn number 1. Looks like Patrick Calgo will give Mike Lemon the room, and Mike Lemon's moving up into 3rd position.
Oh, 43. Raymond Root sideways going into turn 1.
Raymond Root, he stopped, but he's getting back going. Let's see if we can see what happened. On board with him as he heads down. Looks like he just locked it up and got sideways.
Yeah, it looks like too much front brake.
Great job staying off the wall. No damage done to his machine. Just a little balding of the tires. As we go down the long middle section of the racetrack, down into that tight left-hander you were talking about. On board with Matt Burgess through that section. Right behind 5th place David Wright. You can really hear them tires squealing as he's pushing it. He got a bit sideways. And as he continues to fight it, Michael Skinner is going to get alongside him. Going to look to take away the 6th position. Little tire smoke, but nothing comes of it as Michael Skinner is able to get around him. Kevin Dick in the 10, starting in the back. He's already worked his way up to 8th from the 12th position. So far, so good for these drivers. They're really starting to spread out now. J.W. Miller still your race leader. In big trouble for the 23, Michael Skinner.
Oh, contact.
Heavy damage for the 23. And it looks like his race is going to be over. As you see him with heavy damage.
Yeah, he bounced it off the outside wall and then hit the inside wall.
Severe damage to his machine. His night's going to be over. Great job, everybody, able to avoid him. Michael Skinner doing a great job trying to keep his car straight and out of the way. As we look on board with race leader J.W. Miller, about a second ahead of the 24 of Eric Wolf. Then you'd have to go about 3 seconds back to find Mike Lemon in the 38, who has no pressure from behind as Patrick Calgo across the start finish line now in 4th. And rounding out the top 5 is now Kevin Dick, who managed to get around David Wright in the previous lap. Kevin Dick making it look easy, already up 7 positions from the start of this one, and we're only 4 laps in. One thing I noticed, Rod, is that Richard Lucky is not in tonight's race. He won the first road course race in
Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, at Mid-Ohio in pretty dominating fashion. Started on the pole and won the race. I think he led all but maybe 1 or 2 laps of that one.
Yeah, that and we've got 3 drivers that registered for the race but never grid. So interesting turnout for tonight's race, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know Thomas Harmon being one of them said he was going to be a little late, and looks like, as we all can tell, he was not able to grid in time, so unfortunate for him, but he'll be able to take the points for not attending, the absentee points. While we have a second, let's remind everybody next week, Monday, July 13th at 9 p.m., we'll be racing at Kentucky for the Kentucky 175, 117 laps at Kentucky on the newly paved Kentucky that iRacing has released for this season. So it'll be technically back-to-back weeks of these guys competing on brand new racetracks as Kentucky got to repave. These guys won't be as familiar with it as they were last year with all the old bumps. and characteristics of the old pavement. As you see the battle for fourth heating up, Kevin Dick catching Patrick Cowgill, and as they head through turns 1 and 2, we'll see who has the better advantage going through the technical part down onto the long mid-track straightaway. It looks like Patrick Cowgill is going to let him have it. He doesn't want to battle. He's going to give the fourth position, to Kevin Dick. Little smoke out of the 44. The 25 is Zach Wisting. You see him in your screen. He's making a comeback after that lap 1, turn 1 spin. Battling David Wright for what would be 6.
Yeah, Wetstein's come roaring up through the field. I look for him to make a charge up to the front before this is over. I'm not sure how far these guys can go on fuel, but I would be pretty safe to bet that they're going to try and cut this into thirds with their 2 sets of tires, and somebody's going to stop on 13 and somebody's going to stop on 26. They're going to go 13 and 26 to try and divide this out and get the maximum use of their 2 sets of tires, especially with the slim chance of seeing any cautions. Up front, Eric Wolf looking to maybe get by JW Miller and take the lead away.
You're right, as that gap has closed. Ooh, and JW Miller got very loose. That's going to open the door from the 24.
Oh, contact. All that side-by-side battling was to the benefit of the 38 of Mike Lemon. He is 2 seconds closer than he was just a lap ago. I tell you what, the 38 or 36 and the 24 are giving us quite a show right now.
Oh, and Eric Wolf got loose off the corner. Might have had a little bit too much of the curve there, and that's going to open the door for Mike Lemon.
And this right here is probably the best battle on the track, because you go from Mike Lemon to the 4th place car, Kevin Dick, and it's more than 10 seconds back.
Yeah, the top 3 really putting on a show. I wonder if this would have been a 4-car battle for the lead if Kevin Dick did not start in the back like he did and work his way through the traffic. If he had avoided all of that, would he have been up there with them, or could he even be in the lead out in front of those 3? Based on the pace he's setting, he is the fastest on the track at this moment.
And week in and week out, that's kind of the question or the scenario I pose to Thomas Harmon, who does that on a regular basis. Why not just start in the front and save yourself all the aggravation of fighting through all that traffic? Eric Wolf takes lead.
Oh, but maybe not for long, as the 36 might have got into him. They're both off the track.
No. 36 with a little bit of bump, but did not seem to affect the 24 at all.
Yeah, that hurt J.W. Miller more than anything, as he's now going to have to make up that lost time.
Well, as I was saying earlier, as they come across the stripe to begin lap 12, I think probably around 13 you're going to start seeing some green flag pit stops to break the tire usage into 13 lap runs.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. Use up the 2 sets while you can. As we're on lap number 12 now, so within the next couple laps, these guys should be pitting.
Yeah, especially with the low chance of a full course yellow, I think that's probably the wisest decision, and I would bet just about all the drivers are going to do that. As you see, Eric Wolf gaining on the back end of our last car on the lead lap of Dustin Musil.
And it looks like we have a guy on pit lane already, Jordan Berry. Who's actually out of the car. I don't think that's a green flag pit stop for him.
Yeah, Skinner and Berry have both went to the garage, done for the evening.
As the battle for the lead is now heating up between the 38 and the 24. As we're on lap 13, we'll see if we have any pit road takers this time by.
I would be very surprised if we did not. As long as the lap is around this place, it can do nothing but help you.
Looks like the 2 leaders are staying out instead of coming around the track. As you tune into the 25 of Zach Weststein battling the 67 of Matt Burgess. This is for 7th.
And 36 stays out as well.
Looks like the majority of everyone is staying out.
Wow, I don't know, JP. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I mean, I understand staying out because the leader stayed out, but why run, you know, extra laps on the set of tires that you started with when you really don't need to?
Yeah, we'll see how the strat looks out as Taylor Butcher Benjamin coming down pit lane. So Taylor Butcher Benjamin going to be the first driver to come down pit lane for their first pit stop of the night. So we go back up to the lead is still Eric Wolf over the 38 of Mike Lemon. Little wiggle from both drivers. They're really pushing it.
I mean, the only thing I can figure is, you know, the only difference between fresh tires and the tires they're running on is 5 seconds. It's 100. It's a minute 30 seconds a lap here. So at, you know, 5-second gain a lap, that's, you know, you're still looking at 26 laps to make up that time. So I mean that, you know, there just aren't enough laps to make up the time if you pit and change tires, I guess.
As we're approaching the completion of lap number 15, Eric Wolf slightly pulling ahead of the 38 Mike Lemon. Almost a second is now the gap as Mike Lemon's really falling off. As you see David Wright in the 42 chasing down. Oh, and trouble up ahead of them, the 22 Justin Musil going off track. I'm not sure if he was trying to get to pit entrance or if he had lost the car from under him going through the oval portion of the track, but he is now down on pit lane and staying out. He is not going to pit.
Right, JP, right now I'm watching TBB, who's a lap down, but right behind our early race leader, JW Miller, with much fresher tires. Trying to get a lap back at least from JW Miller.
Yeah, it looks like he'll be able to take it too, going down the long straightaway. He's going to get around him.
screwed on pit road.
Yeah, last week's winner in the Truck Series, Raymond Root, down on pit lane. As you see Mike Lemon coming to pit from second position.
So that's going to leave Eric Wolf out there all by himself on the original set of tires. Which I believe these cars have enough fuel to go the complete distance. I'm not sure on that, but I believe they may. You know, he's approaching almost the halfway mark of the race. Another circuit from where he is about now, and he'll be about halfway. And we got an incident between the 42 and the 44.
Here comes Patrick Calgill to pit lane.
Yeah, Wright and Calgill got together end of the backstretch.
Eric Wolf still yet to pit. Zach Wester and Kevin Dick both down to pit for their stops, as well as the 42 David Wright. Gotta wonder if this strategy is gonna hurt Eric Wolf, or if he might have some sort of plan that no one else really knows about.
Well, I was looking at J.W. Miller, who has not stopped as of yet either. He is 6.3 seconds back from Eric Wolf, but he has not taken his pit stop yet. Here comes the 24 to pit road. And 36 to pit road. Let's see which one can get on and off the fastest.
And you just saw Taylor Butch Benjamin drive by to get his lap back.
Four tires for Eric Wolf.
He's down and away.
And four tires for J.W. Miller. He's down and away. And J.W. Miller comes out just ahead of Kevin Dick.
Yeah, I wonder if something might have happened to the 38 of Mike Lemon, because he's nowhere close to the top 3 drivers.
I do show Lemon with almost a 90-second pit stop. He may have got a speeding on pit road penalty.
Oh, and the 10 of Ken Dick's around. And into the inside wall. He gets it back going straight. Dustin Musial having to avoid him.
Yeah, very, very light contact, but still he lost a ton of time in that spin.
Yeah, it must be a product of the cold tires coming off of the corner like that. Too much acceleration, spun him around. As you see, Zach Western is now inside the top 5, looking to hunt down Mike Lemon.
Yeah, I believe Eric Wolf has found his groove. He's actually pulling away from J.W. Miller in second place now.
As Zach is still trying to catch Mike Lemon, he's running a little better lap time than Mike is, just not quite able to get around him. The gap Eric Wolf has over second place is 3 seconds. J.W. Miller was about a second faster the previous lap. But he has the 79 of Steven Sims in its way. Looks like Steven Sims is able to get out of the way and let J.W. Miller by without much of a struggle.
And I hadn't even noticed it, JP, but Raymond Root has also taken his car to the garage.
That leaves 11 drivers on the racetrack. 2 of them are lap down. That is Stevenson and Dustin Musil, who are lap down.
Yeah, as good as Sims is in the truck series, and he's even pretty decent here in the GNS series. He just can't seem to figure out these road courses. He struggled at Mid-Ohio, if I remember correct.
"25 laps are complete.
J.W. Miller appears to be closing ever so slightly now on Wolf. Still a full 3 seconds back, though. Oh yeah, J.W. Miller gained almost half a second that time.
We're closing in on almost 10 laps to go. Rod, what have you thought about this race up to this point?
Well, the first third was actually pretty exciting with the Wolf, J.W. Miller, and Mike Lemon all battling for position. And since we've really seen Lemon drop off, it's gotten kind of, on the mundane side with, Wolf pretty much dominating, from, about lap 12, lap 13 on. J.W. Miller seemed to be mounting a bit of a comeback and a charge back up to the front, but this last lap he lost 0.3 and has fallen back from 2.5 seconds to 2.8 seconds. So I don't even know if J.W. Miller is going to have much for Mr. Wolf. If Eric can keep his nose clean, I think he's going to pretty much just run away with this.
And as you were mentioning that, Taylor Butch Benjamin actually spun out right in front of the leader, Eric Wolf. Luckily, nobody made any contact. Taylor Butch Benjamin back on track, currently scored a 9th position, a lap down. As we take a look through the field, no one's really in a battle. The closest we have is David Wright and Matt Burgess. And this is for the 6th position. We'll keep an eye on this battle as the best thing we got going on. J.W. Miller is within 3 seconds now as we're approaching 10 laps to go.
Yeah, and that's the closest we've got to a battle on the track at all. He manages to cut it down to, it's 2.8 at the moment, but he cut it down as low as 2.5 at one point, but he can't seem to get it any closer than that.
Little blink there by the 67 Matt Burgess. He's still chasing down David Wright. David Wright doing a great job not letting pressure get to him. Patrick Calgo down on pit lane. One thing to notice, Rod, is these guys haven't pitted a second time. I know we talked about possibly them doing this into a two-stop thirds race, which would be lap 13 and then what would have been lap 26, but nobody has come down to pit.
I don't think we're going to see a second round of pit stops from these guys. I think they're going to stay out the remainder now. I don't recall when they stopped. Actually, I can look at my notes. Wolf and J.W. Miller both stopped on lap 20, so they're basically just cutting it in half.
Matt Burgess getting closer to David Wright as these laps wind down. Will he be able to make a move and get 6 away from the 42 car?
Not quite. He's giving it his best, though. Maybe once they enter the actual speedway part of the course. Oh, Wright gets loose. He spins it.
Unfortunate for David Wright. That was a great battle he had going on. He'll be in 7th, and he is the last driver on the lead lap at this point, so he more or less will have 7th locked up unless something should happen.
And he is almost a full 30 seconds ahead of going a lap down, so I think he's probably pretty safe.
Only a handful of laps to go for Eric Wolf. This will be his 7th win of the season if he's able to pull it off. He's looking to possibly tie and maybe break the record held by Ryan Hesgard for most wins in a season.
He's certainly well on his way, and considering he didn't even start running in the DRL league until I want to say 4, maybe 5 races into the season this year. This is pretty incredible. Yeah, just checking the stats from last season, Hesgard had 9 wins in 29 starts.
Five laps to go for Eric Wolf, and the gap is growing now. 5 seconds is the difference between him and J.W. Miller.
Yeah, Wolf has stretched this out to almost a 5-second lead at this point.
Coming to 3 to go for Eric Wolf. J.W. Miller 5 seconds behind him. He's going to need a big mistake out of the 24 if he wants a shot. Third place is currently the 10 of Kevin Dick, 25.5 seconds behind race leader.
Shout out to that number 10, though. He started number 12 on the grid, and he's running third right now, rather comfortably with a 14-second lead over Mike Lemon in fourth.
That's right, Mike Lemon started 5th, currently in 4th. Around out the top 5 is the 25 of Zach Rustine, who had that incident on the very first lap, ended up spinning out, entering turn number 1. He's made a great recovery up to 5th. And you see just in front of him the 2 lap cars of Taylor Benjamin and Steven Sims, which is actually a battle between the 79 and the 88. And that's for the 9th position.
Yeah, Wetstein's got to be careful here because the 88 and the 79 are racing for a position, and he's in between both of them. Although it looks like Sims just pulled over and let him go and then cut off the 88.
Yeah, that was almost a collision on track between the two. We'll see if Taylor Benjamin's able to get around the 79. As Matt Burgess has now entered the picture, and he's going to try to get around the lap cars and go after the 25 of Zach Rustine. And Taylor's going to let him go. That is rather interesting that he let him do that. I know the lead lap car has the right of way, but Taylor's fighting for a position, the 9th position, and I don't think he'll have a shot at him anymore.
Yeah, that's always been my contention is, you know, I understand the frustration of the lead lap cars, but even if I'm a lap or 2 down, if the car ahead of me, or a car behind me rather even, if they're a position that I'm fighting for, I'm not going to pull over and just let the guy by. I'm gonna ride my line, and they've got to be that much better to get around me because I don't want that car that I'm fighting for position with to get by me.
As Eric Wolf is rounding turn number 1 of the oval, he's going to be taking the white flag here at the Indy Road Course.
Wow, and you see the 36 of J.W. Miller just coming into frame, coming out of, you know, what would be turn 1. He's quite a bit back. Almost 9 seconds back at this point. And there it is as he crosses the stripe. Your winner at Indianapolis, Eric Wolf.
First ever winner of the Indianapolis, road course for the Dynasty Racing League Grand National Series. Eric Wolf bringing it home for his 7th win of the year.
And, you know, finishing an even 10 seconds behind him, J.W. Miller, 2nd place.
Kevin Dick will round out the top 3. Mike Lemon 4th, and Zach Weston comes home 5th.
You know, as we wait for the guys to come around for their interviews, I will say this, and it's a shame more drivers didn't show up, but you know, with the lower turnout of these road courses, you're pretty much guaranteed close to a top 10 finish just for showing up.
As Eric Wolf makes it to the front stretch, he'll be able to burn it down. As Eric Wolf parks it at the start finish line, we'll see if we can pull him in for an interview.
Oh, okay.
Hey Eric Wolf, this is the broadcast booth. You have a copy?
Sure do.
Well, this is your 7th win of the season and the first ever win in Dynasty Racing League on the Indianapolis road course. Walk us through your night.
And this place, from practice onward, I knew it was going to be a tough one. And so it was just about not trying to do anything spectacular, just hit my marks, be consistent, and not make any mistakes. And then I knew if I could do that, top 5 was in sight. And looked like Michael Lemon went to pit a little bit earlier than me to try to get the jump with the better tires. And then he ended up incurring a speeding penalty on pit road. So whenever I came in on my pit stop, I was extra careful to make sure I was going slow enough. I probably gave up a little bit of time. Well, I know I gave up some time there, but I didn't want the same thing to happen to me. So I learned from his mistake, helped me out a little bit. And yeah, good pace from those guys, and I was able to pull it off, fortunately.
You absolutely did a dominating run in the second half of the race. We saw early on contact between you and J.W. Miller, and J.W. Miller ended up getting the worst end of that. Were you surprised at that early contact?
Yeah, based on how his tires were, and I knew he was slowing up, and then he just way overcooked it going into that corner. I was on the limit for hitting my marks, and he just drove right in the back of me. So that was his first time being behind somebody down in that corner. And I know it's really easy to miss your mark getting in there for the brakes, and I think he just missed his brake point by, I don't know, 20 or 30 meters, and then just got me in the back a little bit, but I was able to keep it on the track. So, yeah, a little surprised, but at the same time, being behind him, I'm not really that surprised that his first time behind me, he missed his brake point a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Being the first time on the track, braking points going to take a little while to learn, but looks like everybody was able to take advantage of the extra hour practice we had tonight. A few solo spins, but talk to us about going through the oval portion of the racetrack, the final couple corners. It looks like a lot of people were, the car was getting out from under them. Was it a pretty difficult portion of the racetrack tonight?
Yeah, you couldn't go open throttle. I mean, full throttle, so if you did, you had to worry about the rears getting out from you. So that was definitely a throttle control battle there. And my spotter was telling me that JW was running 3rd gear through the turn 1 portion of the oval. So I was afraid to do it during the race because I figured 4th gear would be more stable. But on the victory lap, I tried 3rd gear, and it was actually surprisingly a little more stable and a little faster. So he was onto something there. But yeah, people were having some trouble for a reason. It was pretty hairy through there.
Looks like you might have picked something up for next year's race if you remember to stick to 3rd gear come next year. But great race overall. Rod, do you have anything for Eric?
I was wondering, you know, I mean, we talked about it in the booth, and my thought process was, you got 2 sets of tires. There's a low chance of a yellow coming out. What was the thinking behind just cutting it in half and doing, basically 20 and 20 instead of doing thirds and doing 13 and 26?
Well, you can see the last lap there for me was a 137.4. My best lap was a 33.6, so we got about 4 seconds difference there. And there's big fall off after that fastest lap you can get. So if I would have made 2 pit stops, you lose so much time coming down this pit road, and then the stop itself to get the 4 tires. I don't know. It's probably a delta of around 50 seconds. I just don't think that in those short runs, see if you split it up into that amount, you'd probably be doing 13 laps per run. So I just don't see you making up that 50 seconds because the tires, I mean, they fall off pretty quick and then they kind of stabilize out a little bit.
Fair enough.
Alright, Eric, and before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
Yeah, JP, thanks to you for putting on this league, doing the broadcast. The broadcast is always nice. You too, Rod. And then the guys who I was racing with kept it pretty clean. Good tight battle in there with J.W. Miller. Michael Lemon was really respectful to me. I know that he had probably better pace than me at the end of that first run, and he was really patient. So thank him for that. And then my teammates, DPR guys, David Wright, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and Richard Springer, who gives me some really good information. He really helped me out in this one with when to pit. So that was the information he was giving me is pretty instrumental in helping me stay calm and knowing what to do out there on the track. So yeah, that's it for me.
Alrighty, Eric, go out and celebrate that win, and we'll see you next week at Kentucky.
Thank you.
Let's see if we can pull in our second place finisher, J.W. Miller, who started on the pole of this one. We'll see what he has to say. Hey, J.W. Miller, it's the broadcast booth again. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you started on the pole, coming home second, led some laps. Had a little incident there with Eric Wolf on the long backstretch. Walk us through your night.
Yeah, we had a really good qualifying time there. We were able to start ahead of him, and I think we just pushed the tires a little bit too much trying to stay ahead of him. There, we were able to stay about a second to 2 seconds ahead, but just overcooked it into one of the corners, and he was able to get alongside of me. It was kind of a drag race down, and yeah, that long back straight, it's so hard to find a breaking point there that, obviously, like he had said in the interview I was listening, that, I just missed the breaking point completely, having not taken that behind another car before, so, yeah, I'm glad that I didn't ruin his race from that, but we were able to gain quite a few seconds back, and we battled back to about, 4 seconds, and then pit stops came up, and we gained a little bit on him there, but overall, he was just a lot better on the tire saving deal. I think he was quite a bit smoother than what we were running, at least in the first half of the race. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta hope that a guy that talented makes a mistake, and you can kind of capitalize on that. But we're coming away with a good finish in second.
Absolutely. Great points night for you coming back after missing a couple of weeks. Glad to have you back on the track. Going to Kentucky next week, the new iRacing repave, another track that you guys aren't going to be that familiar with. What are your thoughts going into Kentucky?
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be interesting. Hopefully we get a few more drivers back that decide to skip the road course. I understand it. I mean, it is a workout for sure, but very fun and very rewarding to get it right and to be up there racing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Road courses aren't everyone's cup of tea, that's for sure. But going back to the oval side of things, next week should bring in a few more drivers. Rod, do you have anything for J.W. Miller?
No, I wanted to ask. You seem to dominate the first 9 or 10 laps of the race. I mean, you actually had a pretty close to, I would say, a 4 or 5 second lead at one point. Is there something that changed in your car? Did the incident with Eric have any effect on your handling, and maybe that caused your pace to slow just a bit?
Well, I think towards the end of where we were leading there, I overcooked it into turn one, wheel hopped it pretty bad, and these tires, once that you wheel hop, they just they don't turn quite as well. So definitely kind of overheat the tires, and it's really easy to do in that corner because all the braking points are for Indy cars. So we're kind of going in there blind, trying to find the right braking point for turn one. So especially that, and the braking point at the end of the back straight, I was just wheel hopping pretty good. So I think that kind of just overheated our tires and caused us to kind of just to get way too loose there, and allowed him with the extra grip to kind of get around us.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Alrighty, JW, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give out before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, shout out to you guys as always for putting on the league, doing these broadcasts. I love watching back and everything. Shout out to Team Racing, Chat Racing, and all the guys watching tonight. Thanks for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed that battle.
Alrighty, sounds good, JW. We'll see you next week at Kentucky. Enjoy the night and celebrate your second place.
Yep, have a good one, guys.
Thanks.
And lastly, let's see if we can bring in the third place finisher, last week's winner, Kevin Dick, for his post-race interview. Hey, Kevin, this is the broadcast booth. You have a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, great performance out of you tonight, coming home with the top 3 finish. We noticed in qualifying that you started in the back. I assume that was planned. Do you think if you had attempted qualifying and started in the front and didn't have to work through all that traffic, do you think you would have had a possible win on your hands tonight?
I don't know if a win, but it definitely would have been a lot closer. I did realize about once I got through most of those cars, it's about 10 seconds or so behind, like the leaders or whatnot. And it seems like the farther it went on, the more speed the car had, and it seemed like I was gaining on them, but yeah, it was just too far back.
Going into next week at Kentucky, we know you have been pretty strong on the 1.5 mile circuits. What are your thoughts going into next week?
Just keep doing what I've been doing. I mean, I really like those 1.5 mile tracks. You can keep lots of speed in them, and the cars usually handle pretty good. So as long as the car's not super tight, I think we'll be able to get a top 5 out of it.
Absolutely. And real quick, before Rod has what he has to say, real quick, we noticed that you had lost it coming off of, I don't remember the exact turn number, but it was the final corner.
At the end of the speedway section of the track, I believe.
Yeah, was that due to cold tires or just too much throttle? And did it affect your car at all afterwards?
Just too much throttle, and I was just too low on the bottom. I might have just clipped the curb, and it just upset the car just a little bit, and I just couldn't get it back. And I don't think it affected the car that much, because the next lap after that, even not having the full car up to speed, I ran like minute 33.8, so I think it was still pretty good after that.
Alright, good to know. We weren't sure. We saw that you did end up hitting the nose end, just didn't know how much damage that did. Rod, do you have anything for Kevin?
Well, the only thing I would ask, since you started so far back, and it seemed to be intentional, and I asked this of Harmon. I don't ask him anymore, but I asked him several weeks in a row until it kind of got ad nauseum and turned into a joke. But starting from the back, and I'm a big opponent of that. Parking it at the start finish line just to start, and I've done it myself. But do you really think it would have made a huge difference starting up front, or do you think it would have just been kind of, it wouldn't have mattered much? I had the car I had, and I had a third place car all night.
I think it would have made a difference, but I didn't want to get run over going into the first corner. That was the big thing.
Yeah, fair enough. I can definitely appreciate that as somebody that isn't nowhere near the caliber driver of you. I tend to want to stay out of the way, and that's why I try to put it in the back every now and then.
Kevin, before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give out?
Oh, I got nothing.
Alrighty.
Man of little words.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Kevin. Well, congrats on your top 3 finish, and we'll see you next week at Kentucky.
For sure.
Sit down.
Thanks, guys.
And that'll do it for our post-race interviews. Let's see if we can get through the unofficial results. Looks like we might not be able to do so. ATVO is giving me trouble, but race winner tonight is Eric Wolf. JW Miller comes home second. Third was Kevin Dick, who we just spoke to. Fourth goes to Mike Lemon in the 38. Zach Witstein rounds out the top 5. Coming home 6th is Matt Burgess. 7th, David Wright. Patrick Howgill comes home 8th. 9th is Steven Sims. Taylor Butch Benjamin comes home with a top 10 finish. Justin Musil 11th. Raymond Root 12th. Jordan Berry 13th. 14th goes to Michael Skinner. 15th, Gary Cronenwett. Jeremy Hebel 16th. And Thomas Harmon 17th. Thank you to everybody that makes Dynasty Racing League possible. James Fandoff, owner of Financial Marketing. Thank you to the graphics department of Martin Wenzel and Jordan Gonzalez. Thank you to all the broadcasters, David Warbone Jr., James Pandoff, Rod Fosnar, Taylor Butch Benjamin, Ben Izenga, and all the special guests we've had this season. Thank you to all the race controllers, James Pandoff, Dakota Wilkins, Jeremy Hebel, Richard Springer, Taylor Butch Benjamin, David Wright, and all the other people who have stepped up this season. And thank you to all the league admins, James Pandoff, Getty Buckner, David Warbone Jr., and Martin Wenzel. Alright, what are your final comments regarding tonight's event?
Well, I mean, it is what it was, and I mean, I really, it is, and it is what it is. There's not much we're going to be able to do about it, but I really wish we'd had, more drivers here tonight. I really missed the Lucky Brothers, who are phenomenal road course racers. They would have made this a little more entertaining in the second half, I think. Might have given Mr. Wolf a little bit of a run for his money. The fact that he finished a full 10 seconds ahead of J.W. Miller, that was the second half of this race. I mean, it was just, we were kind of hunting for interesting battles to talk about the second half. And, those first, 11, 12 laps, those were fun. Watching Wolf, Miller, and Lemon all battle it out up front there. I mean, that's what you hope to see at a track like this. I don't know. That's kind of my perspective on what we saw tonight.
Yeah, I know a couple variables happened tonight where a few people couldn't make it, and also the fact that iRacing wasn't competing on the road course itself for the official races. They didn't have a setup. We had to use a different track setup tonight. Might have thrown a wrench into some people's plans on running without the ability to practice much. But next week we'll be at Kentucky for the Kentucky 175 for the Dynasty Racing League Grand National Series. The Truck Series is off this week, so everybody enjoy the night off, and we'll see them next week.
Also at Kentucky.
Yes, that is correct. It'll be a Kentucky weekend again for the Dynasty Racing League.
Yeah, I think next week is going to be really interesting. I see another strong showing from Eric Wolf and Kevin Dick. The other usual suspects. Harmon will be there, and he'll probably start from the back again, as Harmon always does. And by 15, 20 laps into the race, we'll be going, where'd he come from? There's Harmon, top 5.
Well, that'll do it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week at Kentucky. Have a great night, and we'll see you then.